Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Ken and Joan Winslow went to a play called The Amazing Annette with their friends Pete and Betty Eastman on Friday night. Annette was a magician, illusionist, and hypnotist. The newspaper had written great things about the show, so Ken and Pete's wives made them go even though they didn't want to. At least this time, it would be better than ice skating. They got stuck in traffic downtown, stood in line to pay too much for a parking lot that didn't look like it would protect their car very well, and then went to a nice restaurant for dinner. After that, they went to the show and found their seats. Annette, who was the star of the show, began with some standard, boring magic tricks. Pete and Ken were both getting bored, so they were glad it was getting dark so girls wouldn't notice if they fell asleep. At least the boys didn't lose everything. After the usual nonsense had been said for half an hour, Annette spoke to the crowd.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am also a hypnotist, as you know. In this part of the show, the audience will be asked to join in. Oh, good. Ken was not happy. Now we have to watch some plant in the audience try to bark like a dog, he thought.
Annette began to do her usual things. Ken looked on with no interest. But after a few minutes, he realized he could no longer understand what she was saying. He tried to pay more attention. He could hear her very well, but what she was saying made no sense. Even though he spoke 3 languages, he didn't know the words she used. He began to pay close attention. He looked over at Pete, who was also looking very interested. In fact, it wasn't long before everyone in the room was listening to every word she said. Now, everyone was paying full attention to her. She needed to move on, go to sleep, all the men in the room. I'll tell you when it's time to get up. Don't get up before then. Within seconds, the men in the crowd began to slouch. A few people snored. Okay, girls, we're alone now. All of the women sat up straight and waited to hear what she had to say. I'm going to make things better between you and your husbands and boyfriends. I'm about to send them on a mission. You will do something to help them. I'll get them going in the right direction, and you'll help them along. You have unique skills that will help you with what I'm going to ask you. You will help them, you won't question them, and you won't stop. This is for your own happiness. So you should know that you are helping them and helping yourself. Okay, ladies? They agreed by nodding their heads. Okay, men, open your eyes, said Annette. Now is your turn. I'll give you a new goal to work toward. When you get a new quest, you will do anything to complete it. You must have it. There is nothing more important. What I'm going to ask you to do will help your relationships with your wives and girlfriends. If you do this, you will make her happy. Those of you who are single can use this to meet a woman. The best thing that could ever happen to you is happening right now. All of the men nodded when they agreed. All right, guys, here it is. I'm going to change how you think. Inside, you are no longer men. All of you are women. From now on, you will be called a woman. You'll only be able to think of yourself as women. Again, there were head nods. You have always been women inside. Your true sense of yourself is as a woman. You've always wished you were a girl like your wife, who is a woman. You not only want to be with her, but also to be her. You have to be female. You should put on her clothes. You need to feel like her. You've got to. You feel your feminine needs now more than hunger or thirst. That's all you really care about? All of the men agreed on everything. Annette's instructions got clearer, more detailed, and stricter. She then went back to talking in a way that no one could understand. She made her way to the front of the stage at last. You will all wake up when I clap my hands. You won't remember anything about being hypnotized. All you will remember is that the show was great and fun. Anyone who is a critic will remember that it got 4 stars. The rest of you will tell your friends about it. From tomorrow on, you'll remember what you were told, and your new programming will start to work. Annette did a hand clap. Everyone in the crowd blinked and moved. Annette took a bow, and the crowd cheered very loudly. On the stage, roses were thrown. The crowd loved her so much that they asked for 3 more performances. When the lights came back on, everyone left. Ken, Joan, Pete, and Betty got in the Jeep Grand Cherokee and drove to a bar for one last drink before bed. "That wasn't so bad after all, was it?" asked Joan. "No, I was really surprised." "It wasn't too bad," said Pete. Ken agreed and said, "I never thought I'd like something like that." Betty said, "Good. Then next weekend we can go to the art show." Everyone laughed and drank their coffee. I woke up and stretched. I was a bit sore and stiff. Even though the show was entertaining, I smiled. It was going to be a good weekend because I didn't have to do anything but run a few errands for Joan. She always came up with a lot of things to do with me. I thought she was worried that if she didn't keep me busy, I'd hang out with the boys. Joan had already gotten up, as she always did. I got up and took a shower before putting on my robe. I saw that Joan's undergarments from last night was still on the floor. I got them and put them in the hamper. But when my hand touched the soft, silky fabric and the pretty lace around the edges, I felt a strange feeling. I was curious about how it would feel to wear something so soft and silky. I started to put them on before I even thought about it. "Ken," she called to me from the basement, "it's time for breakfast." I stopped holding the waistband and let the elastic snap against me. I went downstairs and ate the eggs and bacon she had made for me. When I stood up, the robe must have been too open because Joan could see what I was wearing underneath. I didn't know what to say. "Don't worry, it's fine. I really like it." In the end, we hugged. After we were done eating, she said, "Let's go get dressed." We went to our walk-in closet on the second floor. I started to reach for my brown pants, but stopped myself. Instead, I looked in her part of the closet, which was about 85% of the whole closet. I touched one of her black skirts with my hand, but she grabbed me by the wrist and led me to one of her gray skirts. She said, "Here, honey, this will fit you better." I smiled and looked at her. I took the skirt off the hanger and felt the soft fabric with my hands. I'd never worn something so pretty before because I felt like I was remembering something from a long time ago, but I couldn't be sure when. Even though it was blurry and dark, I was sure that was how I used to dress. "First, you should put on your nylons," she told me. "What was I thinking, though?" I said. "Duh! I had to put them on first, of course." After putting on my nylons, I stepped into the skirt. Yes, that was a big improvement. When I wore a skirt, I felt so much better. The other day, did you see Susan? Now that Matthew is 14 months old, she looks very happy. I think she has lost weight as well. I wish my body looked like hers. She did tell me that she's been doing yoga and aerobics. It sounds like a lot of fun. We ought to do that at some point. In fact, I said, it means a lot to me whenever we can do something together. "Oh, you're so nice," Joan said. I looked at Joan. I wished I had more of her qualities. She was so great. In fact, I wished I could be her. Oh, that would be so nice. If I could just wake up and be her, I'd be happy, so I told her. "You say the nicest things, honey." Now, my wife gave me a long-sleeved black turtleneck shirt. It looked great for fall with the gray skirt. Her burgundy top and khaki capris stood out, so she wore black shoes to match. She chose a nice pair of shoes for me, but they were too small. "Honey, these would look great with what you're wearing, but you won't be able to wear them." "That's fine," I said. "We can always go to the mall and look for some shoes for me." "And some for me as well," she told me. "One pair of shoes is never enough for a girl." We both laughed as I answered. After putting on makeup, we went to the mall in her black VW Jetta. Her car was cuter than my stupid Jeep by a long shot. I don't know why I bought a big SUV in the first place. We went into 2 shoe stores at the mall. The first 2 didn't even have my size in women's shoes. What a bunch of nerve. What were they doing wrong? At least the third store had a few pairs, but I was very disappointed that none of the newest styles were there. But I did find one pair that went with what I was wearing. People kept staring at us, which was weird. They must have been jealous of how close we were to each other when we walked arm in arm. We went to a few more stores, and I found a cool purse in one of them. Joan only had 3, and she didn't want me to use one of hers. I also couldn't help myself, so I bought 2 dresses, a skirt, 2 sweaters, a pair of pants, and a cute little halter top with tiny straps. I could hardly wait to put it on. And when we got home, we did some housework and then decided to go see a movie. While I was washing the dishes, Joan went online to look at the movie times. "Honey, hurry up and get here," she told me. I turned around and ran over to her, my skirt twirling. "What's that?" I was very interested. She told him to look at this online shop. I found the best site ever. It had everything I was looking for, like cool shoes in bigger sizes. I couldn't help myself and also bought a wig. I couldn't wait for the package to get here. If only they had a store in the mall nearby, I would have gone right down there. We went to a show and then went for coffee afterward. We were spending the whole weekend with each other, and it was great. Things kept getting better and better, and we were closer than ever. My package didn't arrive for 3 long days. When it did, though, I tore into it. I was so excited to put my shoes on. They were amazing, and the size I need. The way they made my outfits look better. Even if you have the best clothes, if you don't have the right shoes, it all looks bad. You just don't feel right. But you can never tell a man this because they just won't get it. But all women understand what I mean. Then we went upstairs, where I put my wig on. Wow, I looked so much better when my hair was longer. It really made my face look better. Oh, to be beautiful. I had chills all over my body because I knew I was pretty. It just made me feel so much better. I felt special. I felt right. I was going to let my hair get as long as it could. I put on a top I ordered, but as I was doing the last button, Joan came up to me and said, "You look silly. Your hair is stuck. You have to take it out before you can button your shirt." Oops, I'll have to keep that in mind. Honey, thank you. It's okay. When I first grew my hair long as a little girl, I made the same mistake. I seem to remember the same thing in the murky depths of my mind. I thought I had put my hair up to get it out of the way. Joan had suggested that we spend the weekend with the Eastmans. We made plans to eat at a nice seafood place on Friday night. When we got there at 7:45 p.m., we were seated right away. I was wearing a skirt and blazer from my new blue suit. We found a cute little hair clip at the mall, which I used to put my hair up. For the event, I also wore Joan's nice pearls. We got there about 5 minutes before the Eastmans did, and I was surprised. Betty was acting like herself as usual, but Pete made my jaw drop. He looked like a woman. He wasn't his usual self because he was in a dress. He had long hair and earrings that were prettier than mine. He also wore the cutest little pumps. Pete, I was surprised. We took a moment to look at each other. "I just love your shoes. What store did you buy them at? I saw them on the internet. Look at what you're wearing. It's so adorable. I really like that color of blue. It makes you look at it." "Thank you," I said. Betty and Joan were both happy. "Will you stop looking at each other and pay attention to us as well?" said Betty. When I saw Joan, I smiled. When a group of us got together, women would get so angry, but we'd soon forget about it, and we'd have a lot of fun before the night was over. We asked for wine, and I took my birth control pills out of my bag. To make up for my lack of hormones, I had to take them 3 times a day, so I could get my system back to normal. I saw a poster of the amazing Annette. OMG, she's coming back in the spring. Do you all want to buy tickets to see her again? "Yes," said Patricia. "I thought it was great. Me too." It looks like we're all caught up in Annette, and we all laughed. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.